attention was on a fly that had landed on his steering wheel. "Perhaps you will need to book my taxi for your return journey." "It depends on the temperature in your automobile." Her thin blue lips stretched into something resembling a smile as the taxi became warmer. We were no longer stranded in a Russian winter so much as a Swedish one. I opened the window. The valley was covered in white plastic, just as the student in the injury hut had described. The desert farms were devouring the land like a dull, sickly skin. The hot wind blew my hair across my eyes, while Rose rested her head on my shoulder, which was still smarting from the jellyfish sting. I dared not move to a less painful position, because I knew she was scared, and that I had to pretend not to be. She had no God to plead to for mercy or luck. It would be true to say she depended instead on human kindness and painkillers. As the driver steered his cab into the palm-fringed grounds of the Gomez Clinic, we glimpsed the gardens that had been described in the brochure as a mini oasis of great ecological importance. 2 wild pigeons lay tucked into each other under the mimosa trees. The clinic itself was carved into the scorched mountains. Built from cream-coloured marble in the shape of a dome, it resembled a massive upside-down cup. I had studied it on Google many times, but the digital page did not convey how calming and comforting it felt to stand next to it in real time. The entrance, in contrast, was entirely made from glass. Thorny bushes with flowering purple blooms and low, tangled silver cacti were planted abundantly around the curve of the dome, leaving the gravel entrance clear for the taxi to park next to a small stationary shuttle bus. It took 14 minutes to walk with Rose from the car to the glass doors. They seemed to anticipate our arrival, opening silently for us, as if gratifying our wish to enter without either of us having to make the request. I gazed at the deep blue Mediterranean below the mountain and felt at peace. When the receptionist called out for Senora Papasteriadis, I took Rose's arm and we limped together across the marble floor towards the desk. Yes, we are limping together. I am 25, and I am limping with my mother to keep in step with her. My legs are her legs. That is how we find a convivial pace to move forwards. It is how adults walk with young children who have graduated from crawling, and how adult children walk with their parents when they need an arm to lean on. Earlier that morning, my mother had walked on her own to the local spa to buy herself some hairpins. She had not even taken a walking stick to lean on. I no longer wanted to think about that. The receptionist directed me to a nurse who was waiting with a wheelchair. It was a relief to pass Rose over to someone else, to walk behind the nurse as she pushed the chair and admire the way she swayed her hips as she walked at a pace, her long, shining hair tied with a white satin ribbon. This was another style of walking, entirely free of pain, of attachment to kin, of compromise. The heels of the nurse's grey suede shoes sounded like an egg cracking as she made her way down the marble corridors. Stopping outside a door with the words Mr. Gomez written in gold letters across a panel of polished wood, she knocked and waited. Her nails were painted a deep, glossy red. We had travelled a long way from home. To be here at last in this curved corridor with its amber veins threading through the walls felt like a pilgrimage of sorts, a last chance. For years, an increasing number of medical professionals in the UK had been groping in the dark for a diagnosis. Puzzled, lost, humbled, resigned. This had to be the final journey.